And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Happy Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what today is? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I should know because yesterday was Wednesday, and we do What You Got Wednesday on Wednesday. And I'm mopping the floor with you. So
yeah, you are.
That
you needed because I beat you in both drafts last week.
True. I needed a rebound. But I'm excited that they're both one-sided. How are you today, Ben?
Doing well, you?
Still time to vote, by the way, if people want to jump in on that for another 2 hours. I'm living the dream. Football season. Basketball season is almost here. We talked about it yesterday. Fall's great. I love fall.
You excited for a big Thursday night football game? Seahawks Cardinals?
Not really.
No,
how
that's not a game.
Okay, nobody cares about this, but I'm going to complain about it for 1 second. There's been several high-profile injuries this week. Feels like more. Like Eckler, speaking of the Cardinals, the Rams running back, Najee Harris, and there was another running back, and C.D. Lamb's injury. All of them are on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
All of them. Every single one. I had to trade out like 4 players yesterday.
Christian, how's your team doing?
Not good.
No.
It's a really weird year.
All of them, Ben. Very frustrating.
Well,
how's your team doing?
Never played fantasy sports in my life, but I will I'll tack on an extra prayer for you at the end of the night.
Thank you.
Team.
Thank you. I need it.
Yeah.
Me too?
I need it.
Who are your guys' QBs?
Lamar Jackson.
Decent.
Got a couple Dak, got a couple Bo Nix.
What do you mean you have a couple?
Throw picks?
I have several
How many
teams.
leagues do you have?
A lot.
Yeah.
But no, the Seahawks and the Cardinals are not particularly interesting to me. You?
No. I mean, I will
want to
watch
watch Kyler deal?
I am at that pathetic point in my life where Tuesday night and Wednesday night there's no football on. I'm like, what do I do with myself? What am I supposed to do? It's like everything else that is available on the planet at my fingertips at all times. But I'm like, well, there's nothing right in front of me, so I guess I'm stuck. I guess I'm trapped until Thursday comes around, and then there's football until Monday.
Do we have a good college matchup tonight?
Army.
Oh, really?
Army, East Carolina. So we'll see. It's an interesting football math matchup because Army beat Kansas State and BYU beat East Carolina. So let's see how those teams play against each other and see if that gives us a little bit of insight.
All right, like a transitive property kind of thing?
But that's just about all there is to it tonight. I think that's the only game in college football.
I'm surprised they've kind of, and I'm maybe somebody with more knowledge about the contracts and that sort of thing, but it seems like Thursday night football in college was a huge deal. And maybe it's Amazon jumping in with the NFL, but it seems like a lot of that has switched to Friday. Like you look at the Friday slate, Ben, and it's really good. Florida State at UVA, TCU at Arizona State, and the Beavs hosting the Cougs of Houston.
Yeah, 2 Big 12 games, not pure Big 12 matchups, but like you said, Beavers and
that's got to be a direct response to
Thursday
night football, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you remember how many Thursday games the Utes and the Cougs used to play back in the Mountain West?
Used to be a very big thing.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting how that's migrated. The NFL truly is king. I mean, it changed. Everybody has to adjust to the NFL.
Not that tonight is a particularly dynamic matchup between the Seahawks and the Cardinals, but they have started making Thursday nights generally better than they had been early on. Early on, it was kind of the discard game, thinking people will watch it because it's the NFL. Let's just put the worst game on. And now it feels like they've started to try and put some actual good matchups there. And I think that maybe has chased it off even more so.
Well, I could tell you why. I mean, when Thursday night football started, who aired it?
Who was it?
The NFL Network.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
So nobody bought it at the beginning.
Right.
And then it became simulcast with the NFL Network and someone. Who was it? It wasn't Fox. It was simulcast with another partner. So that other partner was getting a better game anyway. And so now with Amazon actually buying it.
Yeah, when you put it out to bid.
And Amazon, they want games.
They want a good game.
They want game. And remember, year one wasn't great because Al Michaels was just complaining up a storm. I'm sure Al got his way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, we got to throw old bald Bezos a few good games. So it's interesting to see the evolution. But the Thursday night football just started as some wingnut idea that they were going to put on the NFL Network with nobody buying it.
Right. It was a place to have a new window and probably a smart test run. And then, they realized, let's sell it for $1 trillion, which I'm sure they sell every night for. And it's working out.
Just not tonight.
Not tonight's game necessarily.
Just not tonight.
Yeah. But they had a few good ones to start the year. Get you hooked, get you excited for Thursday night football for the rest of the season.
I tell you, I think the Cardinals are an example of you really is complicated in the NFL, and we can move to college here in a second, but you have to really know you got a guy before you extend them off their rookie deal in the NFL. And that's a hard thing, right? Because you don't want to give up on guys too early. We've talked a lot about that on this show, but like giving Kyler Murray a huge contract is going to keep the Cardinals mediocre for the near future, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like the Chargers, I think are on the come because I think Justin Herbert was worth the extension.
What does Baker Mayfield earn? Let's see what his contract looks like. It's probably, it's enormous, I'm sure, compared to what every normal person makes.
Oh, I bet it's lower than you'd think.
3 years, $100 million. Kyler Murray contract, 5 years, $230.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's $60 million a year, $58 million a year-ish. Baker's is $33 million a year. That $25 million is such an enormous gap, and Baker is...
They're probably the same caliber of player, honestly.
No, I think you're right.
Different skill sets.
Different style of player, but if you're talking about the quarterback that is, what is this, Baker's third stop, fourth stop? Fourth stop at least?
Third. He got cut by the Browns and then rehabbed with the Rams.
Got
and
cut
then
by Carolina.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I
forgot about the Panthers. You're right.
So you're better off with that at a discount at $33 million. And he didn't get drafted, right? We did our 10 quarterback draft and we didn't draft him. I think he was like 11 because we took Matt Stafford last. You're just way better off with Baker at $33 million than you are with Kyler at $58 million.
Say what you will about Salazar's Raiders. Geno's probably a value for what they're paying him. Because that gap is huge because that money goes to someone else.
Yeah.
Because just like the NBA with the NFL, we're talking about percentages of the cap. Don't get lost in the numbers. The important part to focus on is how much money you have to spend on everybody else. And in football, you have to invest in the quarterback, true. But you got to make sure it's a guy before you spend all that dough because you can really sink the ship. That's why I think the Niners are going nowhere fast.
Yeah, of course. I'm just looking at the salaries right now on NFL.com. Dak Prescott, highest paid quarterback,
yeah.
$60 million.
What are you doing? Jerry has bungled the Dak thing.
Yeah, he has. Over and over.
And over again. He only did that to himself. If he would have extended Dak early, Dak wouldn't be making near that much money now.
This is for this season. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, both at $55 million. Trevor Lawrence also tied with those guys at $55 million.
Yikes.
Yeah, you can't.
Yikes!
Yeah, that's horrible. That's the ultimate. We're gonna pay the guy before we know if he's actually like the guy.
Trevor
Lawrence is good,
but that's gonna sink Jacksonville for how long?
Yeah. Jordan Love, $55 million. Tua, $53 million. That's a sinker. Brock Purdy, $53 million.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's pretty tough. To the point where Lamar Jackson, you get down to $52 million. Jalen Hurts, $51 million. Those dudes are legit guys. I feel very confident with Jalen Hurts.
Well, this is the flaw in the next man up system, which is just what we've got in the NFL and the NBA. It's just kind of how it works.
Deshaun Watson makes more money than Patrick Mahomes.
Hilarious. No, but these franchises have to not fall in love with their own guys. That's kind of the problem.
Yep.
You see it. We see it with the Jazz. They fall in love with their own guys.
They do.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy was probably not worth the contract he got.
Right. The most notorious one is Andre Kirilenko.
Absolutely.
It was your guy. He made an all-star team. He was exciting. He was not a max player.
I mean, if Kyler Murray hit the open market instead of extending with the Cardinals, you think he gets that kind of dough?
Probably not. I mean, somebody might pay him because teams are paying stupidly, but is he worth that dough? No, of course not.
But all those guys basically got the most they could possibly get. Those weren't free agents. Those were max extensions with their teams. Almost, I think it's all of them. When was the last time a free agent quarterback signed for that kind of dough?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
It was a
trade, but
it was essentially a free agent thing.
So
Kirk Cousins get traded, or was he signed?
He was
free agent, but
he
didn't,
got a huge money
from the Falcons.
$45 million a year, so way too much.
No, it's honestly what I love about sports, the game behind the game. How do you – the idea with the salary cap is you make all the resources the same for teams. So how do you play the game within the game? I mean, that's why Austin Ainge has a really fascinating job.
Yeah.
Being an executive in pro sports is a really fascinating, complicated, high-stakes gig.
Mm-hmm. I bet it's fun, but it's certainly stressful. You're in a weird spot right now, getting ready with the season opening on Monday, training camp opening on Monday, and we talked about the Kevin Love thing and all the deals you're trying to figure out and what's worth it and who's not and who is and who do you buy out and who do you hold on to. There's a lot of moving pieces.
It also helps if you're the type of personality that enjoys firing people, because you end up cutting a lot of guys.
You end up hurting a lot of people.
You end up really shattering a lot of dreams.
Yeah.
You have to be the type of person that kind of likes that.
Yeah, it can't be crippling. It probably stinks. I've never talked to a GM who's like, yeah, that's a fun part of the job. But it can't be so devastating that you don't come back to work the next day.
I bet you Danny Ainge is like, I love it.
Let's sign some more guys so we can cut them.
It's the best. Like the highlight of his season is when's the final cut day before regular season begins.
What's the latest we can do it to get their dreams up?
Really dash the dreams of somebody who's dying to make it. Hand them a bus ticket.
We're so close.
Say, next time.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah.
That would be the downside of that job. I actually talked at length to Dennis Lindsay about that once. He really hated it.
Yeah, people hate it.
He really hated the cut, the trade, the whole thing. Like he went in depth about his feelings about trading George Hill when he was in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Said it was like one of the hardest things he's ever had to do, go into George Hill and be like, because he was so all in and that was his personality and he's a really likable guy. And he's like, guess what? You're going to love Indiana.
But we're sending you away. We think somebody's better.
You're going to love it. We got this guy Kawhi coming in. Anyway, that would be really difficult. But it'd be a fun job.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I bet it's enjoyable.
And you know what? Hopefully we'll get to talk to Justin Zanuck or Austin Ainge or somebody in the front office coming up on Monday because we're going to be broadcasting from Media Day.
I went and talked to some people yesterday, poked my head in, saw our friend Tim Lacombe. I went over to the ZBBC yesterday.
Did Tim participate?
The media training camp. He did not. He did what I did. He sat on the sidelines and watched for a couple of minutes. And he was there before I was. And said hi to Booner and Jay-Z.
Did anybody get hurt?
Not that I saw, but it looked painful. It just looks hard to do.
Does the coaching staff call you soft if you're sitting on the sideline and watching?
They're busy yelling at other people, so I was able to sneak through. I've put my time in. They recognize. I've done it probably 8 times, so I've done it a lot.
I remember when they started that the first year, and I was like, "This is just a terrible."
I've got a photo.
idea.
Somebody sent me a photo of you doing it.
Really?
Yeah, your first year. It's in my phone. I'll share it with you.
Terrible idea.
Will you post that online?
Sure. Jake's got real raccoon eyes. You can tell he's been tanning all summer.
Really?
Yeah, you got the shade glasses. You got the shade tan. It's pretty good.
Was I in my brother's goofy shoes? That I had to show up in just horribly awful shoes because I didn't have any sort of athletic shoes.
Let me see if I can find it. And I'll put it on KSL. I'll put it on the Jake and Ben KSL Twitter account. Absolutely.
No, I went through that a few times. And it's just like, this is just a terrible idea.
Yeah, here we go.
I appreciate the sentiment. But, wow. God, I look awesome.
How many sweatbands are you wearing?
I'm a real baller. I'm not wearing a sweatband.
None of the. You don't have the wristbands on.
I look like I'm sweating a lot, but I don't have the wristbands on.
I cannot tell you enough to look at the tan on Jake's face. I'll post it right now.
It would have been this time of year. I wonder why.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I just got back from the beach or something. I don't know.
You must have. Is that hands behind you? I can't tell who's behind you.
Well, if it were hands, you would know, right?
I don't know. That kind of looks like hands.
It does kind of look like hands.
But he looks soft.
You know who that could be? That could be, honestly, is our guy Nate.
Could be Nate. Did Nate do it? Nate do media
It
training?
wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Alrighty. I'll put it up right now.
Really? Okay. I'm not ashamed of the
No,
picture.
I'm not.
I do
Put it
look
up, people wanna
quite.
see.
I do look quite sweaty.
Dan,
I do look like I'm sweating profusely.
Jake at the Utah Jazz. Media
I'm
training
so
camp.
glad you're putting that out. Coming up next, we will get into college football, the football everybody's cares about right now. We'll get into the Utes. We'll talk Cougs. We'll do it all in the top 3 stories of the day. KSLSports.com coming up next. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, BYU released their first availability report. And Sione Moa, running back, a surprise out for the Cougs this weekend.
Not ideal, but certainly more ideal than if it were LJ Martin, as we've talked about. The running defense for Colorado is putrid.
Like worst in the country, putrid almost.
Yeah, bottom 30 in the country.
So honestly, if Sione was to miss a game, this probably isn't a bad one.
Yeah, if you're nicked up at all,
Yeah.
getting ready for Big 12 play, not, this is Big 12 play, but really it will start more seriously after this. This is not the worst game to miss.
No, I think BYU's going to run over Colorado. I think they're going to run for a ton of yards. I think they're going to run all day for the whole game. And then BYU's defense, just how good is it? And if they can limit Colorado, I don't know how big a test this is going to be for the Cougs, honestly. The game against Texas Tech for Utah, you kind of found out what they're made of. Not that this is going to be their season, but you found out something about it.
Yeah, it was revealing. It was the first revealing game.
I don't know how much will be revealed from BYU Colorado. Like what BYU's good at plays right into what Colorado's bad at. And so I don't know what Neon Dion's going to do, honestly.
No, it's against BYU or for the rest of the year?
No, against BYU. I mean, forget for the rest of the year.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, they are at a talent deficit. I think they're at a coaching deficit. They're at home. That's a plus. But that's about it. Yeah, there's just not a lot in Colorado's corner, period. And BYU is really good, and their defense is stellar. And they're going to be able to do the things BYU can do. Shouldn't be an issue against Colorado. There will be some other teams that are stout against the run or slow down LJ Martin that put pressure on Bear Bachmeier to go out there and make throws that he has not shown he can make yet.
Right, and I don't think that's this game.
But that's not this game.
No, I don't think that's this game.
So,
the Bears going to have to make a throw at some point, or throws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think it's this weekend.
No.
I could be wrong, and maybe Neon Dion has something dialed up. I just don't know what that could be, honestly.
And you always have to be careful. You always have to make sure you don't overlook anybody. But, yeah, BYU plays at Colorado and then home against West Virginia. We might just be at week 6 before we have a real sense of who's going to give them a challenge if Arizona's for real.
Something Kyle Whittingham believes in, and I'm sure Kalani does, because most coaches that weren't cornerbacks usually know this, Ben. If you can't stop the run, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
really difficult.
That's was certainly Coach Witt's first thing with his defenses is stop the run first, because if you can't stop the run, why would they do anything else? It's almost like dunks in basketball, right? You gotta stop them at the rim first, because if they're going to dunk every time, they're going to do that.
Your defense has to start at the rim. Your defense has to start by blocking up the run or clogging up the run.
Right.
Slowing it down. And then work out from there.
Yeah, so I don't think Colorado can do that. I don't know how many points they can put up on BYU's defense either. Again, why this is I don't think is a recipe for testing where BYU is vulnerable.
Colorado is 1-2 on the season, or 2-2 on the season. Excuse me. They did just beat Wyoming. They go starting this weekend: BYU, TCU, Iowa State, Utah, Arizona. That is a very difficult stretch of games. And then they get West Virginia, and then they close with Arizona State, Kansas State. They might be looking at, I think, 4 wins max.
Can you fire Dion?
I don't think so, but I think Dion would.
I mean, Colorado can't, because
no.
What's your standard?
But
you know what I mean?
Dion
but can
would
you
jump ship.
Can you fire Dion?
I don't think so. Unless Dion simply can't find anywhere else to go and has no reason to jump ship. But you would give him one more year after this, absolutely. So I wouldn't fire him after this season.
No, see, this is the complicating factor with Dion is he is worth so much more to the university than just your average football coach, because he's got to be a fundraising magnet.
Yeah. And brings talent in that you wouldn't get otherwise.
And attention and all this stuff. I mean, you're not just firing any sort of normal coach. You're firing kind of an infrastructure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think Colorado's going to be 2-7 before they get their next win. It's really bad.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's getting ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Yikes. Well, I think the Cougs should win fairly easily. I don't know about blowout, because I don't know how many teams that BYU is actually going to blow out, but I think they should win comfortably, I would think.
More than 2 scores?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
17 plus would be my guess.
All right, what's next?
Number 2, shout out to social media. We got some leaked images of the renovated Delta Center and a potential new Utah Mammoth logo.
Who leaked it?
A guy with 30 followers.
Yeah. So
An employee?
No. So my theory is, and look, companies do this, right? If you've ever advertised with a company, they will like mock up designs of like, this is what your product would look like here. This is how we think. This is some ideas. I think if you're advertising in Delta Center, especially if you do like big advertisements, I could be wrong on this, so take this with a grain of salt. They may let you like come in, put some of your graphics up on the board, let you see what it's going to look like actually in the arena to really sell you, right? Because that's got to be awesome. If you've got a company and you walk into Delta Center and there's nobody else in the building and your brand is everywhere all over it, that's got to feel really cool.
Sure.
So I wonder if maybe this was a marketing thing and somebody was there like getting a tour and was like, oh, just snap a photo of the ice and send it out. Now, it is kind of low quality. You can see behind the benches, it almost looks AI. It's not. I believe the photo is real. Those seats behind the goals this point will be behind the baskets in the NBA. Man, they are steep. That really is the wall that Ballmer built at Inuit Dome in Los Angeles. You are going to be right on top of the goalie in hockey, and I imagine it'll probably be somewhat similar in basketball. Obviously, the court is so much smaller in basketball. You can have a much less steep incline getting down to the court side, but yeah, it'll be intimidating. It'll be cool to see.
I bet they intentionally leaked it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, the guy who originally tweeted the picture out deleted it.
Yeah, of course.
But then somebody else saved the photo and then put it back out again.
This is
The
a thing.
internet's written in ink.
But this is a thing nowadays, right? Is you get organic attention by giving a sneak preview, like, oh, this was leaked out.
But you don't do it from somebody with 30 followers.
I think that's exactly who you do it from. I think that's why it gets the attention that it gets.
And I know there have been people who have gotten in very real trouble for sending out photos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which means, I think it's, yeah, sure, go ahead. We're going to do this intentionally. Bob, let it leak.
This is just some dude. I think this was, I think somebody got in trouble. I think whoever this kid is who has nothing to do with the Jazz or the Mammoth, I mean, he tagged Cole in the original one. He tagged Cole Bagley, our reporter, in it. Truth is, if they wanted it out, they would have just had Cole come and take a photo, or they would.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
No,
It's
I get it. I get what you're saying. I promise.
And playing internet games seems to be right up, tech guy Ryan Smith's alley. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Cole, you don't get the organic attention from our guy Cole. That's his job. He puts it out there.
I think you're giving somebody too much credit.
Maybe.
You think someone's playing 4D chess.
They are, because they always are, Ben.
I think
they always are.
Oh, cool! I'm in the building.
Listen, I've seen how professional sports organizations treat leaks accidentally.
Yes, you have.
I have, multiple occasions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could think that this would be intentional. Yes, because the ramifications for the accidental one are significant.
But usually you're viewing it from an internal employee. This is just some external dude walking through the building.
Nobody's just walking through that building right now.
Well, if you're in the scenario I laid out where, maybe you're getting an
maybe it's a marketing or something. I don't know.
People get in.
I think it's the 4D chess.
Well, you're giving somebody a lot of credit. They deleted it. But I get it.
Of course they did. After Cole picked it up.
Yeah. But it looks good. Regardless, the end of the stories looks good. And yes, another alternate logo of the full mammoth, not just the mammoth head, also appears to have leaked online. Christian said he looks naked. The mammoth looks naked. Which, you know what? Mostly.
Are mammoths clothed?
Except for my dog on Halloween, not wearing clothes. So, yeah.
Just the way the logo looks. Because the head still has the ice on the mountains and whatever, but then the rest of the body is just all shaded and black.
And somebody found this because they were some trademarked logos, right?
It just looks naked. That's the best way to describe it. It just looks like, because there's absolutely no detail on the bottom half.
Every time you go to the zoo, do you look at the animals and you're like, that tiger's naked. That tiger doesn't have any clothes on. That lemur.
You dress up your dog
as a
on
jaybird.
Halloween?
Yeah, she likes being a skeleton.
Of course you do. That's not a.
What do you mean I do? She likes being a skeleton.
That's not a shock.
My dog likes being a skeleton.
What, she walked up to you and said, "Hey Ben, will you dress me as a ridiculous skeleton every year, please?"
Mm-hmm. So throw her in the old skeleton costume. Dodie goes crazy in that thing.
There's an argument you're abusing that animal.
You think so? By putting her in a sweatshirt in the cold?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like the emotional trauma that dog goes through every Halloween is something.
Christian, what's next?
Number 3, the Mountaineers, plagued by injuries ahead of their matchup against Utah.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit yesterday with our West Virginia reporter. Nico Marico, their quarterback, is listed as questionable, as is their running back. They've got another running back that is listed as out. They have a bad offensive line. It's beat up. Their best receiver, I think, is hurt. 2 running backs are hurt. Quarterback's hurt. Again, Utah can't expect to go in and roll over this team, as you pointed out several times earlier this week. They have not scored 30 points in a Big 12 game.
Ever.
If you can't expect to score 30 points, you shouldn't just expect to win. Now, I don't think West Virginia is going to be able to score a lot of points, but monkeys and typewriters, occasionally everything goes right, and somebody's going to score 30 on you. So don't have this be the game where West Virginia hits 2 deep shots because you don't have a good cornerbacks room right now. And, yeah, you fumble the ball once at the 5-yard line, and they get an easy score, and all of a sudden they've put up 21 points, and you can't get there. So Utah does still need to treat this game very seriously. I think Utah should be the heavy favorite, but that's not always that's not a guaranteed win.
This should be just what the doctor ordered for a rebound game for the Utes.
I think so.
It should be.
Yeah.
I don't think West Virginia's great. I don't think they were great before all of the injuries. I mean, I think the lines should get back to dominating, and it should be a game to get on the right foot. It should be a game to get to 30, honestly, right?
You would think so.
And I don't think West Virginia is going to get to, I don't know, I don't think they're going to get to 17. So, I mean, this should be a scenario where they're able to actually put the train back on the tracks and get a little momentum running into the rest of conference play, which if, they put out that video the other day of us comparing this year to last year, which the team last year could not do.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop the bleeding and put it back on.
There was no tracks to put the train back on.
Right.
Is the truth.
So they had a disappointing offensive performance against Texas Tech. So what do you do to put the train back on the tracks and inspire the optimism that the UCLA game inspired?
And I do believe
and there should be an opportunity to do that.
That Utah's offense should be able to take advantage of bad teams.
They should.
I had gone into the season thinking if all worked well, and maybe after the UCLA game, now at that point we didn't realize that Deshaun Foster was not for long at UCLA and that was maybe the worst P4 team in college football. But after that game, it kind of seemed like, oh, maybe this is going to be a pretty versatile offense that can do a lot of things. They had the 10-minute, 20-play drive that if they just want to sap the game, kill the clock, they're going to be able to do that. But also if they want to score quickly, they're going to be able to make some of those big plays. They have not shown they can make those big plays. So they might only be able to bully some of these other teams, make some short throws, and move the ball that way. That might be what the offense is this year, and it doesn't have big playability. And if you don't have big playability, you're not going to win 11 games, because you're going to run into too many teams that can outscore you. And Utah might run into that. But against a team like West Virginia, even a basic offense that's consistent should be able to win you a game.
I agree. The funny thing with Ute fans, I'll start. The other day you were with me, Ben, and somebody called me a Ute hater. Mm-hmm. And it was like, no, man, I hate everybody, which isn't the truth. I'm just not a lover.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a BYU lover. I'm not a Ute lover. I'm not even a Jazz lover. That's not how I view my job or sports or really any of that. But the Ute fans, the Ute lover out there falls in love with the fantasy that was 2004. Where they had the best offense in the conference, certainly one of the best offenses in the entire country with Alex Smith, and the defense was still top 5, top 10 in the country, and they were just creaming teams, right? And so that has evolved over the last 20 years into, well, if Utah had a really good offense, they'd be the best team in the country. Because that was true in 2004.
Yeah.
They had a Kyle Whittingham defense, and they had an Urban Meyer offense, and that was arguably the best team in Ute history. Yeah. I think you can still make that argument even after the Rose Bowls.
Dominance-wise, no question.
Rolled everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
Stone cold defense with Sione Buha. Who else was on? Morgan Scalley himself was on that team, right? And then Alex Smith and who were the running backs? And Brandon Warfield? No, he was 03. Who was 04? They had another good Marty Johnson. Oh, and Quinton Ganther.
Yeah.
Best like that. That is what everybody thinks when they think Utah. Well, if they had a dominant offense, man, they'd be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
And I get fantasy is such a loaded word, but I get why Utah gets a lot of hype when people think that their offense is good, because that's the rest of the defense is always good. If they had a decent offense, well, dang it, they'd be the best team in the country. The problem is that more often than not, Utah's offense has not been great, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't get the assumption that Utah's offense is going to be good, that it seems like a lot of Ute fans have, that they just assume that, as opposed to like last year was not a fair comparison. But let's go back to let's go back to the Travis Wilson era. That was more the norm than 04.
Yes.
So why would we assume all the time that it's the 04 offense?
Yeah, the vacillation between good Utah offenses and bad Utah offenses generally are what you saw at the best of Tyler Huntley and what you saw at the worst of Tyler Huntley.
That's a good, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, generally that's about the spread.
Yep.
It doesn't have this wild, outside the norm, wow, Utah's got one of the 20 best offenses in college football. That so rarely happens, if ever.
In 08, they were probably right around 20. That was a good offensive team. We'd have to go back and look at it. But they weren't blowing teams out. Yeah. They barely beat Oregon State and TCU, and they had a lights-out defense again, and then they had a good offense, certainly with good running backs,
But, yeah, going back to 04, the closest game, I've got the box scores.
Wasn't it Air Force?
Air Force, and it was 49-35.
Yeah.
It was 2 scores, and you put up 49 on them. So, yeah, Every game. 41. They only scored 23 against Arizona on the road. They only scored 28 at New Mexico. But otherwise, it was 41, 48, 49, 46, 63, 51, 63, 45, 52, and then 35 in the Fiesta Bowl. It was pretty good offense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the best in the country, honestly.
Yep.
I don't know statistically, but it had to be top five, offense and defense.
Yep.
And that's what, kind of people think. Like, well, if Utah ever had an offense, they'd be the best team in the country. And maybe that's true. But they have never replicated that kind of offense, in my opinion. Probably not even close.
Third in the country in points per game.
Yeah.
So
that's just unfair to expect, let alone that be the default. So we'll see. I think Dampier should have a really good game against West Virginia, healthy or not. He should look more like UCLA Dampier than Texas Tech Dampier. That's what I'm expecting.
I'm going to be keeping an eye on Bird Ficklin playing in this game, with absolutely no insight on that being the case.
Yeah.
But I'm just keep an eye and see if not starting. Certainly, if that was the case, I think you would see Dampier on the injury report as out. But see if he gets maybe a couple of opportunities to play. He may have to play at some point, and he looked good when he did early in the season. So let's see if at some point if Devin Dampier is going to continue to take hits and get hurt even against a team like Wyoming, you may want to get Bird out there for a series or a couple of opportunities to see what he can do against better teams.
All right, we have more coming up next. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go!
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars head to Boulder for a battle against Coach Prime and the Buffaloes. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, want to remind you to nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Let's give away some tickets on a Thursday, 801-575-ZONE. Caller number 12 right now. We're hooking you up with a pair of tickets to go see RSL take on Austin FC on Saturday at America First Field. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. We'll get back to talking football coming up on the top of the 11 o'clock hour. But Ben, you know me, I am a lover of the tabloids.
Yeah.
I am a big fan.
Freak.
And you obviously have your computer up in front of you.
Yes, I do.
Can you Google up the cover of this week's Us Weekly magazine?
Us Weekly magazine. Cover. Let me see if I can well, that's not the right one. No, I can't.
You cannot.
Bad news, I can't. Let me Twitter search it. Us Weekly cover. Hey! The adult novelty heiress.
The adult novelty heiress and Bill Belichick.
And his girlfriend. He's now the heir.
Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
Yeah.
And by the way, this spread is all about Jordan Hudson, which is totally my point. But Bill Belichick, that Bill Belichick, is on the cover of Us Weekly. What do you think the athletic director at North Carolina thinks about seeing old Bill on the cover of Us Weekly when his football team is just awful?
Well, whoever the athletic director is,
Come on, man.
works for Bill. So I guess he doesn't really have any ability to combat it, because for a while it seems like he was also working for Jordan Hudson. But yeah, it's
okay.
Every week it gets worse. Honestly, every week it gets worse. And that's not just on the field, where it is also getting worse. Every week, like getting absolutely creamed by Central Florida, or as Bill Belichick likes to call the team, Central. Just not their name. But yeah, it just keeps getting worse.
Well, and North Carolina's getting sued. I don't know if you saw that story yesterday from a former employee who alleges that all the hiring of Bill Belichick was done basically, I don't want to say illegally because that's not the allegation, but behind closed doors without typical review from that a public university requires. So that wasn't good news for them. But Ben, as somebody who leeches off a successful spouse, I feel like we can smell our own here. This woman should teach a class. Okay, think just in your mind, go back 15 years and think of Bill Belichick. Sour,
Right.
grumpy,
Yeah.
successful,
But seemingly impenetrable.
Bill Belichick.
Right? He had a relatively unblemished resume. He was weird. He was crusty. He had the short sleeve sweatshirts he always wore, but he was unquestionably a legend.
His brand, too, was I'm a legend, so I'm going to do and behave however I want. And I'm a boring, crusty guy who just wants to wear hoodies. Fast forward 15 years. He's on the cover of a tabloid with his young girlfriend. Do you think he put on his own makeup before he did that photo shoot like a good clown does?
I like that she's wearing one of his Super Bowl rings. That's pretty good.
I mean, just look at the visual there.
I'm sure the NFL loves that they've got their
This
NFL
is-
100 jacket on there.
Oh,
Not even repping UNC gear.
he is never going to get an NFL job again.
No,
if
that's
if
done.
he was ever going to get one, he is never going to get another. He's never going to get another job, period, ever again. Which I guess good for him. He's in his 70s, but like, talk about an unserious person. The most serious person in sports turned into an absolute joke,
A clown.
show.
Yeah, a clown. Yeah, it's one of the weird.
Because he fell in love.
I don't think that is what happened.
And he fell in love with a woman who is really interested in attention for herself.
He fell for something. You remember the scene, and this isn't necessarily going to end well for her either. You've seen Wolf of Wall Street.
I have.
You remember it ends with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, and he's like in a classroom talking to a bunch of kids, like, or not even kids. It's like a bunch of dudes who are like subscribing to a sales pitch meeting. And he's like, sell me this pen. He's like going through the thing again. It's like after he's been to prison, spoiler alert, and comes out of it. Like, that's where she's going to be. Like, let me tell
Teaching
you.
seminars on how to attach herself to successful people.
How to hook a successful person.
Oh, she should.
That's what she's going to be doing in 5 years. Because we know, again, if we're going to ever do this draft of we know how this is going to end, or we knew this wouldn't end well, we know this isn't going to end well. We know Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick is not for long. We know Bill Belichick in North Carolina is not for long. We know Jordan Hudson's time in the spotlight is not for long. You can't actually
It depends on who she dates next.
parlay this into a whole lot.
Guarantees she's Rupert Murdoch's next wife.
Who's it, Ellison? What's the guy's name right now?
Oh, Larry Ellison.
Yeah.
What's that movie with our favorite former Scientologist Jason Lee and Jennifer Love Hewitt? One of Gene Hackman's best movies. I can't.
Heartbreakers?
Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
That's her.
That is her.
That's her.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Incredible movie. Like, totally underrated.
Terrible movie. But
Really
yeah,
hilarious.
Sure.
Gene Hackman is so funny. That movie is worth it for Gene Hackman alone.
Christian, Gene Hackman is one of the great movie stars of all time. He died this year, seemingly of hantavirus, or his wife died of hantavirus, but the conversation and...
See, that's not the bit. You can't explain to
Downhill
Christian
racing.
things that happened this year. It's about explaining things that happened before Christian was born. How do you think Bill Belichick's girlfriend will do in her coaching debut tonight?
All right.
All right.
That was our guy, Chip Patterson.
All right.
Raleigh local Chip Patterson.
I like that he was worried, like, what if I ruin my relationship with Bill long term? You don't need to worry about it. Bill's not going to be there for long.
I love it that he actually thought, what if I ruin my relationship with Bill by laughing at a stupid joke on a Salt Lake sports radio station?
Well, all right.
Do you think Bill's listening to the show? He's tuning in?
Jordan might be.
Saw Christian's tweet before the show, and the adult novelty Harris is like, oh, I gotta listen up.
Better pull that up.
Well, anyway, Us Weekly, Ben. Check out the latest issue. You're gonna love it.
Good for
Feature
Bill.
on Jordan Hudson.
Good for Bill.
I hope she talks about her mother's business ventures. Very successful woman.
Yeah.
Very self-made. All right. Stay tuned. We'll get back to college football coming up next. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
Let's lock in.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Enjoy the Spanish Fork Wings and Wheels Air Show going down this Saturday at the Spanish Fork Airport. Over 15 World War II aircraft will be on display. Many will offer rides and walkthroughs this Saturday from 9 to 4 at the Spanish Fork Airport. Ben, real quick before we jump back to college football, I just saw this, that they're releasing photos of the new cast for new/old cast for the new Spaceballs movie, which is coming up, which I had no idea that they were making another Spaceballs.
How old is Mel Brooks?
He's 99.
And is he directing it?
He's
certainly involved.
He's in it. I don't know if he's directing
He's
it.
definitely involved.
But he's in it. He probably had something to do with the writing of it, I'm sure. But Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement. It's his first movie in 30 years. But usually movies I love that get reheated 30 years or 40 years later or whatever, I just dread because I know it's just going to suck. Is that going to be the case with this?
Did you watch the new Naked Gun yet?
Is it just going to suck? No, I haven't.
It's pretty funny.
And you told me it was pretty good.
It's pretty funny. It might. I think it'll be enough to tickle your fancy. No, this is going to be terrible.
But
yeah, this could be awful.
I don't know, because parody movies, I think, are easier to do again. Like, speaking of the Naked Gun, right? Like, you could do 3 Naked Guns. They're just parodying other things in the pop culture and making silly jokes, right? Like Spaceballs is just poking fun at Star Wars the whole time. And you can do that, right? You can replicate that, especially with all the new Star Wars content. Well, like the scary movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those, I feel like maybe this one has a chance. That's all I'm saying. Like when they announced Anchorman 2 was going to come out, it was like, this is just going to be garbage. I have higher hopes for.
Josh Gad is in it. Josh Gad does the voice of the snowman in
Olaf,
Frozen.
dude. Get it right.
Yeah.
He got his start.
Do we imagine he's playing Barf?
Oh, he'd be a good Barf.
Have you seen Spaceballs, Christian?
Yes, I have.
Spaceballs is a Mel Brooks movie from the mid-'80s.
Who's Mel Brooks?
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine he's kind of adopting the John Candy role. That's a good role. That's funny. The dog.
I believe Josh Gad got his start on Broadway in the Book of Mormon.
I believe that.
I think that's where he came from. But yeah, now he's just Olaf.
That's a good gig.
Being a voiceover actor? Yeah.
It's a good gig.
That's the best gig.
So, yeah, we'll see. It's got a good cast. It really has good people in it.
The first one that really proved that concept was Mike Myers. Do you remember how much money he got paid for Shrek 2 or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes of work and he got like $30 million.
Not bad. Not a bad
Great
life.
movie, by the way. I just watched that like
Shrek
2 days
2?
ago. Yeah.
I bet you Tom Hanks has been made more off of Woody than he has the rest of his roles combined.
Probably made a pretty penny and worked less on it.
Yeah, you don't even like have to go into a studio really anymore. And you don't have to see people. They just hand you a thing and they say, do this line in 3 different inflections and then move on.
I think I remember reading that Cameron Diaz did her thing in a day. Did her whole part in a day. For Shrek. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing. On those movies, they should be paying the animators $30 million, not the bozo voiceover people. You kidding? How much do you think Cliff Clavin has made from being a voiceover guy? He's in every Pixar movie.
More than he ever made on Cheers. Certainly.
Way more.
Yeah.
All right. Brian Keel said something interesting on DJ and PK this morning, Ben. And I don't know if I like it, but I think it's true.
Okay.
So he was kind of talking, they were talking about the Utes, a former Coug talking about the Utes. And he was kind of funny because he was saying, I don't cheer for the Utes, but it's fine. It's okay. You can recover from a loss. And then he looked back at his career and talked about a loss that they had on the road to UCLA back in the day. And that just ruined your season. Like if you really wanted, he was talking about busting the BCS, but whatever the special season, the bar used to be, you had to run the table. You had to go undefeated. And if you lost a non-conference game, it was really a blow because all of a sudden that special season, whatever it is dashed. And he was talking about how he's actually jealous of players today because they can have one of those losses and still pick it back up and accomplish what they want to accomplish for the season. So from a player perspective, I can certainly see why he would feel that way. From a fan perspective, I used to love it the old way when every game was live or die. From a national college football fan perspective, and I know this was never the majority opinion, but I love that. I love that all 12 games were truly live or die special games. And then you could play for more after, like conference title and then bowl eligibility and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I like the theory of in college football of, a retake, I guess, or that you can lose all these games and still have a quote unquote special season. It seems like there's less on the line.
I agree. And I agree in part. I have said lots of times I think the college football playoff has ruined college football. I just don't really enjoy the sport all that much anymore, and that's a part of the reason. But yeah, where I disagree is that I hated BYU and Independence because the second you lost a game, you were completely irrelevant. It didn't matter at all. And even, look, we don't know what happened. It was always a hypothetical. It was a big talking point. What would happen if BYU went undefeated? Would they actually get an invite to play in one of the major bowl games? That was before it was the big.
Yeah, because they weren't required. Playoff. They weren't required to.
So I don't want to rehash that conversation because it never came to fruition. It never mattered. But the second BYU lost a game, you basically could write off the rest of their season. And I am glad that's not where we are anymore.
I think
Utah in 2022, losing to UCLA, losing to Oregon, they opened the season with the loss to Florida, and still backing their way, and they absolutely did, but backing their way into the Rose Bowl made that a more fun season than if you had just written off the season after Game 1 and a loss to Florida, or Game 5 and a loss to UCLA. So in that sense, I disagree with you and agree with Brian Keel that I like that you still have a chance.
I don't think the BYU Independence comparison is actually apt. That's such a unique situation.
It is very. It's your example on steroids.
Yeah, it's the problem was you didn't have a conference title to play for once that loss happened, right? Or you couldn't even play spoiler to other teams in the league, which also makes it interesting. It was just you lost one, and then it was a bunch of exhibition games, which absolutely was true. But I'd not really. Let's see. Utah should have, well, no, I don't want to dive into your example there necessarily either. You're looking at it from somebody who follows Utah. That made it more entertaining for you.
Correct.
I'm looking at it from an overall college football, I'm a college football fan perspective.
The word you said that matters is you said national college football perspective.
Right.
That's right. I agree with you. The big picture, when I'm watching teams that I'm not invested in, and invested meaning not emotionally, but that I talk about every day on the radio. I don't talk about Alabama every day. I don't talk about Florida every day. Florida's a bad example, but Alabama's actually a really interesting example right now. Have they already lost 2 games?
Yeah.
1 game? Whatever it is, with whatever it is, 10 weeks left in the season, 9 weeks left in the season, push comes to shove, if Alabama's on a hot streak, they're going to be in the conversation to make the playoff. Meaning what happened earlier in this year just didn't matter at all. Their bad loss early in the season to South Florida? Who beat them? I can't remember. No, that was Florida State. Florida State beat them. That's their only loss. That won't matter at the end of the year at all. They will get into the playoff because of the brand name.
I guess getting back to maybe your Utah example of a 3-loss team backing their way into the Rose Bowl, that's fine, but that team shouldn't be eligible for a national championship.
Okay. And now they will be.
Now they will be. And I don't like that because that made those games, even though they lost, again, I don't care if they win or they lose, it made those games less consequential. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was part of the magic of college football, is that every game was consequential. Every single one.
And I hate the playoff because somehow you've made the Rose Bowl less consequential.
Oh, all the bowls. They might as well not exist.
Yeah, that was a huge
I don't like that
achievement. That was a huge accomplishment. I remember Utah fans, and I know that wasn't the first year, but the interlocking U, the block U with the roses all over it, it looked great, putting it on the helmets, wanting all the gear. I remember how excited fans were for that. And now that doesn't mean anything. The Rose Bowl doesn't mean anything. And look, I already think bowl games are a little ridiculous because I think winning your conference title should matter a whole lot. That's who you're compared against. That's who you're playing all year. You play the same opponents. Were you the best of that group? That's the best you could do. I wish we valued that more. We don't. And now we don't even value teams that do well and miss the college football playoff. I hate that. I think it's such a bad way to put another measuring stick on teams that have had really good years and discount them for one thing or another, especially when we know what we're discounting them for is in comparison to a team like Alabama that, 5 years ago they were awesome. Do you remember Nick Saban? It's like, yeah, that has nothing to do with what this team is now. So why are we still giving them credit for that when we're going to push them into the college football playoff if they have a good year the rest of the season? So that part of it I do hate, and I'm with you.
Like Indiana last year had no business being in any sort of conversation for the national title. Nor did SMU. Honestly, nor did Arizona State.
Right. Should they be competing for the national championship? Probably not.
So I disagree. From a player perspective, Brian Keel, I totally get it because those defeating losses, that loss at UCLA probably did crush his soul, and he would have loved another bite at the apple for a special season, even though that season turned out to be 11-2, I think he said, like a pretty special season, you know? So I get that perspective, but from an overall college football fan, I liked it the way that it was, and that it was consequential each and every week. You couldn't stub your toe and have a bad offensive performance. If you wanted to be the best, if you wanted to be special, you had to be perfect. And in Utah's case, if you wanted to bust the BCS in 2004, you had to be perfect. They didn't bust the BCS in 2003 because they lost 2 games? 1 game. They lost in New Mexico in league. I can't remember if they lost. Mm-hmm. I think that was it. And they ended up going to the bowl game in Memphis. What did that used to be called? The Independence? No. I'm trying to remember. They played they played like South Mississippi or something like that. In the Freedom Bowl? What was it? Anyway, you had to be perfect. That 04 team had to be perfect. And it sucks that they got pit in the Fiesta Bowl, and that was certainly a flaw to the system. I'm not saying anything is perfect. Yeah. But they had to be perfect to do it. Every game was consequential.
I like the idea that you can still compete for your conference championship with a couple of losses, because if you can compete with it for a couple of losses, that means everyone else in the league has a couple of losses as well, right? You're playing just as well as everybody else in your conference. You've qualified for that. But even then, that's a good example of why the expanded college football playoff is stupid. How many teams, Jake, get invited to the conference championship game? 2. The 2 best. And we know who the 2 best are. They get invited. They don't do a playoff in every conference to give everybody a chance to go win the conference title. No, it's the 2 best. Put them in the title game and let them compete against each other for the conference title. Good. That's a good measuring stick. Why does the college football playoff have to be 16 teams or 12 teams or in the future 24 teams? Why is that the case? You know who didn't deserve to be competing for a conference title last year in the Big 12? Colorado. They weren't good enough. Kansas State wasn't good enough. You didn't have a good enough regular season to make the conference championship game. 2 teams did, and they got to go and compete for it. And credit to Arizona State who won it. It's a cool accomplishment. I hate the idea that what we remember about that season last year was them losing to Texas. It's like, yeah, it was a fun game. It was, but we still remember the loss at the end of the year, not the fact that they actually got to take home a conference title, which is a very cool accomplishment. So anyways, that's my soapbox when it comes to college football at the moment.
There used to be levels of success in college football. Maybe if I can sum it up, and I thought that was a cool part of the story. Like the Utah backing their way into the Rose Bowl or the conference title, that was a cool story. They weren't the best team in the country that year, but that was a really cool story. And then from there, you go to bowl eligibility when that used to matter. So you had these levels of achievement. I remember Utah coming off their 4-8 seasons when they beat UCLA at UCLA to go to be bowl eligible, and Witt did the on 3 bowl eligible or whatever he did, that big, huge celebration, because that was a hump. That was something that they had to get over, and it was a big deal. And I don't know. The more we water down the postseason, I don't know. We lose that stuff.
I totally agree with you. Do you think fans agree?
No. I think fans want to see their teams have as many chances to succeed as possible. But I don't think that's necessarily better for the health of the overall sport.
And you know what? If you wanted to circle Utah fans specifically, I would understand it. There's a real argument the 04 Utah team should have had an opportunity to compete for a championship.
Or at very least play another undefeated team in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Because Auburn was a third. There were 4 undefeated teams that year going into bowl.
Right.
And Virginia Tech, interestingly enough, played Auburn and got smoked. Jason Campbell was the quarterback of that Auburn team. Remember him in college? He was awesome.
So if you wanted to have that argument, I would listen. I get it. And I think it's a legitimate argument. I really do. There was a point where the BCS and the too small, there was no playoff at all, just the championship game, did probably keep too many teams out of an opportunity to compete for it. And Utah has been on the wrong end of that one time. Not a whole lot of teams can actually make that argument historically. There have not been many teams who have had special seasons the way Utah was special that year.
Well, you can make an argument 08.
08 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Utah is a very specific example of a team that was extraordinarily good, had some of those perfect seasons, and never really got to see how good.
It happened to Boise. It happened to TCU.
Boise State,
I get it.
Yeah, Boise State did it, TCU. But that, again, we're talking about 4 teams. I mean, you're not putting Hawaii in that group when they went undefeated.
Yeah, but technically it happened to them.
But it did happen to them.
They didn't get access. If we're talking about access to a national title, they got smoked by Georgia. Beat them by like 40.
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback? Colt Brennan?
Colt Brennan, yeah.
Rest his soul. I think he's passed.
He is passed. It's a terrible story. But, yeah.
He was a great quarterback.
He was a great college
Just
quarterback.
not in the Sugar Bowl.
No, he wasn't.
He was not. Not great.
But again, you're picking 5 or 6 teams historically that have been wronged.
I actually go back to the original bowl thing where your conference champion goes to the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl or whatever. I'd go even pre-BCS. I don't know, maybe 4 was the right number or whatever. But if it goes to 16 or what, we're going to see the same thing we basically saw last year, in that the first couple of rounds are going to be hot garbage.
And like we said, how is SMU in over BYU?
Yeah.
How is that possible? You have the exact same record and BYU beat them head-to-head and SMU gets in?
And they were in similar leagues. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
So the more access you give, the more complaints are valid of who didn't make it. So yeah, go back to it being ultra elite. 2 teams, 4 teams. That's about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. From a player perspective, I get it. You want another bite of the apple to have a special season or whatever. But it doesn't do it for me as a fan. Got to be perfect. Every game used to matter.
Yeah, and not to beat a dead horse, but yeah, to define a special season. That's where it also becomes. I think winning a conference title is a very, very special season, and I think we've killed the value of that a little bit.
I agree.
I think we have undercut Utah winning the Pac-12 twice because they didn't win the Rose Bowls the other year. Who cares?
Still won the league.
USC in the conference championship game. That's insane.
Well, the softest USC team in history.
Sure,
but still.
but if you had, you remember the conversation when Utah was joining the Pac-12 was, can you believe Oregon's going to come to town? Can you believe Washington and USC are going to come to town?
Yeah.
You're going to get to go play in those buildings? And you beat one of them, and you beat 2 of those teams in conference championship games. It's like, yeah, that was awesome. Those were huge, highly televised games. That Oregon game was insane in the conference championship game. So to diminish those because Utah didn't have success in the Rose Bowl, is terrible.
Easy there, Ben.
I can't speak for everybody.
As far as BYU goes, to your point on independence, it doesn't apply to BYU any of this because they're just happy to have a conference title to play for, and that means a ton after the desert of independence, where you played a bunch of exhibition games. Now you at least can. I mean, it was fun to watch BYU compete for the title last year.
Absolutely. It was
First
huge.
time that has happened in a long time.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes hit the road for a battle against West Virginia. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Yeah, I just want to say, Jake and Ben, I understand your logic and your perspective of how it's better for the sport, but honestly, it's really not to have the perfect teams playing for the national championship. Because if you look at college sports, especially March Madness, the NCAA tournament is one of the best things in sports, not just in basketball, not just in college basketball, but in all sports. And so the more teams you give chances to have that story be told, the underdog story of giving them a chance, a shot at a championship, the more people are going to love it, the more the players are going to want to play for it. It just makes more sense. I don't know why you'd want to eliminate that from college football, from any sport. That's why we play the sports. They have college conference tournaments. They have the tournament of 64 teams. I say the more teams, the better.
All right, that was a call in from, who was that from, Christian? Call in from Ty. We appreciate you, Ty, making your voice heard via the call-in feature at the KSL Sport on the KSL Sports app. And I'm actually glad, even though I don't agree with Ty, I'm glad he brought that up because, Ben, even great things have byproducts, right? I can't believe I'm bringing this up, but have you ever seen the South Park where Randy wants to get a medical marijuana card, and so he radiates himself and basically gives himself cancer to get,
It's just the stupidest show of all time.
It's so stupid, but it's so relevant, right? If to get one thing that he considers good, there's a byproduct that maybe is
his pathway
is maybe not so great, right? I truly enjoy filling out a bracket. I truly enjoy the NCAA tournament. But what is the byproduct of the NCAA tournament? What is the downside for such a great event? Nobody cares about college basketball at all until March.
Yeah.
Until maybe the conference tournaments. Yeah. And like Ken Pomeroy and like Jake Hatch are the only two people watching college basketball until March.
Shout out Jake Hatch.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm picking on Hatch, but he's, Hatch watches a lot of sports.
Yeah.
College basketball is not interesting until March, unless you are Ken Pomeroy. It's just not. It's not compelling. One part of college football that was so magic is it was compelling from week 1 until the end of bowl season because of the conversation we were just having. Well, so yes, 3 weeks in March are really compelling in college basketball. But what's the byproduct of that? Nobody cares about the rest of the season. The rest of the season is like 4 months long.
2 pieces. And again, I think the call's great. I think the argument's great.
Anybody can call it.
Yeah,
call in. We love it. We're not hating on anybody. Ty, thanks for listening, bro.
Okay, what did you say you liked about college football that is missing now? That every week mattered, right?
Right.
Because if you lost, you were eliminated. Tell me how the college basketball tournament works. Tell me how March Madness works. If you win, you get to keep playing? You do not. So it is single elimination. The single elimination just starts week 1 in college football. It was the March Madness tournament for 12 straight weeks.
Great point.
That's exactly what it was.
Great point.
So what you love about March Madness is what college football
actually
had
existed.
Been.
Yeah.
Now you have a second and third opportunity to lose games in March Madness, if we're comparing this to college football, and still make the national title game. That's one issue. The second is, how many times do we believe the best team in college basketball wins?
Rarely.
Now, UConn wins it back-to-back years. Really hard to argue with. That's a great team. And it was different teams, but they won it back-to-back years. You can say there was something special.
Yeah, Larry
there.
Johnson at UNLV.
Florida
and
back-to-back years.
Yeah, right.
It happens.
It does happen, but it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen.
Not even close.
No. So, and maybe some people think that's a strength. I don't know if I feel like that's actually a strength, where I actually, if you want to go back year in and year out in college football, consider who are the best teams and whether or not they won the national title, I feel pretty safe that they get it more right than the college basketball tournament gets right.
With it being played out, quote unquote, on the court or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. I think more likely the best college football team wins the national championship than happens in basketball most years.
I bring this up all the time. You remember the Miles Simon, Mike Bibby, Arizona Wildcats team? Do we need to explain who those people are to Christian?
Mike Bibby was a point guard, played at Arizona, played for the Sacramento Kings, Memphis Grizzlies, bounced around a little bit. Might have had a steroid problem post NBA. But anyways, good hell of a player.
Yeah,
I saw him at Foot Locker one time, and he was yoked.
Getting a little salacious on your description there.
Huge.
There, Ben.
Well, defined problem. Maybe it was a strength.
Maybe it was a real plus for him. The year they won the title, not the year the Utes beat them, which was the next year. The year before, when they beat Kentucky in the final, didn't they? Anyway, when Miles Simon and Mike Bibby won the championship, do you know what they finished in the Pac-12 regular season that year?
What was it?
5th.
Oh, wow.
5th.
Yeah.
Why did they even play the regular season?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What is the point? Especially with the berth in the tournament going to the college or the conference tournament champion. I mean, I don't know. I get what Ty was saying with the NCAA tournament, and people do love it. But it has an impact on the sport that is not always positive. And I think the college football playoff is similar. But Ty, I don't know if Ty's a Ute fan or a Cougar fan or whatever. I'm sure a fan of his team. He loves it because the access is so much better for his team.
And which is why we asked, do we think fans agree with our take? And we both probably said no. I don't think so. And I don't think fans are wrong necessarily.
Not fans around here anyway.
But I think your argument is very legitimate.
So good for Utah and their players that they have another bite at the apple. But actually part of the magic of college sports used to be, well, you don't have a bite at the apple anymore. That's why you got to win it.
I think Texas Tech is really good. I don't think they're going to go undefeated either. We never saw an undefeated Pac-12 team. I don't think we're going to see an undefeated Big 12 team this year. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, odds are no.
Yeah.
Odds are no. Yeah, I don't think Texas Tech's going to go undefeated. They don't even know who their quarterback is.
Right. Could be a problem at some point.
Could be an issue.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate Ty weighing in.
Hey,
that was
it's
good.
a great call.
Yeah,
It's well thought out. It's everything we want.
But yeah, I think fans like the access.
For sure.
All right, stay tuned. We wrap up the show. Coming up next is the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go!
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars head to Boulder for a battle against Coach Prime and the Buffaloes. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airways, talking sports. They got him made Jake's and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my. From the islands to the basketball courts, they mainly engage in their thoughts. Jake's got wisdom beyond his years. Ben's got stories to make you cheer.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This segment brought to you by Peach Doors and Windows. Amazing home transformations begin with Peach, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255. Ben, we've gotten some interesting response on the Snap Talk
Okay.
from our conversation. College football. It started from, if you didn't hear Brian Keel with DJ and PK this morning, it was very good. But he was talking about how he's jealous of players now that they can lose a tough game like Utah lost to Texas Tech and still have an opportunity to have a special season. And you and I were kind of debating, and we agree on this one, interestingly enough, on whether it was better before, when if you lost, your special season was out of reach, or whether it's better now.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's interesting stuff. Here's, let's see, Steve, our good friend, waves in. Ben says, every game mattered for maybe 3 teams in the entire country. I would argue that more games matter now because you aren't eliminated after one loss.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to necessarily mean, let's see if I can parse this out correctly. More games can mean more, even if losing doesn't mean as much as it once did. I do think that's true. I do think you can thread that needle, but I totally buy your argument that, week 4 does not matter what it once did. Week 4 used to matter the way we talk about week 10, week 11 games now. Because, and one of the things I hate is just we just get so obsessed with if they get this run of 6 straight wins at the second half of the season, that's really what's going to matter because they're going to be ranked and then they're going to be undefeated, and you just assume that all these teams in front of them are going to lose because teams have to lose. And then they'll make the college football playoff that way. I really kind of hate looking at it from that perspective of if their schedule lines up correctly for 6 straight wins at the end of the year, then they get that opportunity. You're right, those games do start to matter more, but every game used to have that importance.
So he's saying there are more games that matter, which I could kind of buy into, but by that, I'm going with your NCAA tournament comparison for a second because I thought it was a good one. If there was a loser's bracket in the NCAA tournament, that would technically create more games that mattered.
Yes.
But would that improve the product?
Right. Yes, that's a good point. And look, I don't think you are either swearing by the old system or said it was without flaws or think it was the best, the perfect way to do it. But again, it's the cat in the wall. It's just, you're just you continue to try and fix something that is just naturally imperfect. There's 130 teams. They can't all play each other. So you're not going to ever have a perfect measuring stick of who matches up with who. Ever.
Andrew weighs in, our friend. He says, to play devil's advocate, the national champion Ohio State wouldn't have made the playoffs if they didn't expand because of their early losses. I like the expansion because more teams have the opportunity to compete for a championship. My point exactly. Ohio State's loss to Michigan last year didn't matter at all.
It didn't.
It didn't make one bit of difference. That might as well have been an exhibition game. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about rivalry games mattering or every game mattering. That game quite literally did not matter. They still got in and they still won the national title. I liked it when that game mattered. You have to beat your rival. You have to beat Michigan.
Yeah.
If you want to be a national champion, you've got to beat Michigan. That was not the case last year. So I hear what you're saying, Andrew, but I don't think Ohio State should have had an opportunity to be national champions last year.
Yeah.
Let's do some call-ins. Who are we doing first, Christian? Here's Ryan.
I agree with the previous call-in and disagree with you guys. I think one of the great fallacies of college sports, college football in particular, is that the field should be curated so that the consensus quote-unquote best team should win the national championship. That isn't the point of sports. The point of sports isn't so that the best person always wins. The point of sports is so that you have the opportunity to go out and prove yourself against other competition. Just because you're the best, not the best team on paper, doesn't mean you shouldn't be given the opportunity to beat the team that is the best on paper. Think of Utah and Alabama. Utah gets the opportunity to blow the doors off Alabama, and they could be rewarded with another game in a situation like that. The point isn't to be the best team. The point is to win the championship. And if you win the national championship, you are the best team in sports.
Like that?
You know what? I appreciate the call in again, Ryan.
No, I think his
done.
argument is correct. But here's where I disagree.
No.
Well, go ahead. You keep going.
No, go ahead. Here's where you disagree.
The opportunity to play another game, and this is actually, I'm mixing a tweet that I just read right now here, but it's like, and I agree, if we just wanted to crown the person because they were the best, it's like, yeah, just give LeBron 15 straight titles. You know what I mean? Well, he's the best player in the world, so just give him the championship, even though LeBron wasn't on the best teams pretty consistently. And I think the NBA does a great job of crowning the best champion every year. But if you want to have your opinion that it's not about finding the best, it's about, I guess, who wins that day specifically, you can have that argument. I don't have a problem with that.
You and I are not arguing about best team on paper. That is not the argument that we are making. We're talking about games mattering. And games, you're talking about win it on the field. So are we. We're just talking about how week 4 used to actually matter, and now week 4 doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you've compressed the value of the games at the end of the season versus spreading them more equally from week 1.
Throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And again, college basketball is the ultimate example of this because games in November in college basketball mean nothing. Maybe a little bit on the selection committee side, but more or less nothing.
Chewbacca on Twitter says, it's much better now, even going undefeated back then. He's got photos of 2008 team. I think that has Morgan Scally, so it must be 04. He says, even going undefeated back then wasn't good enough for teams like Utah. He says, i.e. 04 and 08. Again, if you wanted to argue 04, I'd listen to it. And there's an argument for 08 as well. What I would also counter is is 2008 not the greatest moment in your conference, in your team's history? Like, some of the best thing is that you didn't have to go play Florida the next week, right? You do have the ability to be like, would have been nice, though. What if we got that opportunity? That was the greatest night in Utah football history, 2008. Yeah. That was unreal. You're never going to surpass that feeling, ever. If that's not good enough, I worry that nothing's ever going to be good enough.
Well, ain't that the truth? But this is our friend tweeting in who's a Ute fan.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about the overall health of the sport.
We are.
And if you're a fan of a team that got screwed by the system and you're saying it's better now, I understand that.
For sure.
And I'm not even really going to argue with you. But we're talking about the health of the sport and the structure of the sport. And I liked it better when week 4 mattered. I liked it better when Ohio State, Michigan mattered. It doesn't matter anymore. Or at least not how much it used to.
I liked it better when the bowl games mattered.
All right, let's get another call in. Here's Adam.
Okay, I definitely get your point with how basketball doesn't really matter till March and how that could easily translate over to college football. I think if they adjusted the seeding for the college football playoff, it would make it a lot more interesting. And, if you kept it at 12 teams and, conference titles, etc. And I think if you added more G5 teams, I guess depending on the ranking, which is already, a thing. But I think we already have, where only a select few teams get up there like you were suggesting, because there's the conference titles and then there's sometimes the second runner-up. So I think 12 is probably the perfect number because you don't have too much saturation in the playoffs, but you also got the right amount to keep fans engaged and make the whole season matter.
Thanks for the call in, Adam. Appreciate that. I think Adam is just talking about how many cats we're going to put in the wall.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would go down to 4.
Do we put 5 cats in there?
That's the wall, eh?
I would go down to 4. And I would, even then, at some years, it might feel like too many to me.
Get another couple of cats back there.
Throw 'em in there.
I don't know. Maybe 12 is the sweet spot. I kind of doubt it because the magic of it used to be that every game mattered. And
We've
that's
also only seen 1 year of 12.
We have.
So it's hard to make an official judgment on that.
But hey, shout out to everybody who interacted with the show today.
No, man, and great calls, really great calls.
Yeah, that
And
was
tweets.
that was a fun topic. Thanks to Brian Keel for inspiring it. You know Brian very well?
I do, yeah. I was Brian a bunch.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. Hanson, Scotty G are coming up next. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Christian.
On the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.